So what is up with my kiddos? Hope you guys are doing awesome. I know you probably are. I'm about to go to bed, and I've been kind of turning things around in my mind a little bit tonight about a really important question that I wish that I would have thought about when I was your age. And the question comes from a place of feeling oftentimes like I'm just so burdened with everything in life. Everything. I mean, it could be burdened by why did I wait so long to use this avocado that's sitting in front of me? It's like moldy and soft, and I paid like $2.50 for it. And it's a big avocado. I like big avocados, and I like using them for dinner and smoothies and whatnot. And it kind of, something that small feels burdensome to me. And sometimes it can feel as burdensome to me as not getting in my physical training that I do during the week, failing to eat the way I want to, not getting my car vacuumed out. It can feel like everything in life feels huge and burdensome sometimes. And so I suspect some of that's just the way I'm wired. I suspect that you guys probably inherited some of that from me. And I'm glad you inherited a lot of great things from your mom to counterbalance some of this crazy mind that happens. But how do you know in such times what's important enough to care about and feel burdened about and what's not? I'm reminded of a discussion I had along these lines with our friend Arthur. We know Arthur. And Arthur and I were having coffee at Starbucks several years ago. And I was kind of describing, we were just having a kind of a down-to-earth, really deeply personal talk about just how we're wired and how we think about things. And Arthur and I had done some business trips together as well. We'd hired him out on a few occasions to come and do some stuff at different conferences. And so we got to know each other really well. And it became easy for us to have some really deep conversations. And as I kind of described for him how I sometimes will feel like a lot of things in life burden me, I'll never forget, he taught me a new thing. And he said, you've got to know, he said, you've got to own a fuck it bucket. How about that? I kind of laughed out loud. I remember that because I'd never heard that before. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, you need a fuck it bucket. The fuck it bucket is the bucket in which you decide to chuck the things in life that are not worth the fuck. And I love that. I've stuck with that ever since then. I've added a new one, though, because now I have two bins in life. I have a fuck it bucket and I have a Grin-Bin. There are things in life that aren't worth giving a fuck about, and I throw in the fuck it bucket. And there are things in life that are worth caring about and smiling about. And so I put those in my Grin-Bin. So how do you know? The real question, that's all funny and it's cool to think about that. But the question is, how do you judge appropriately what thing you should put in which location? How do you appropriately judge which things you shouldn't give a fuck about and throw in the fuck it bucket? And how do you know which things that you should really care about to put in the Grin-Bin? That comes down to your values. Your values in life are going to be the primary things that help you make that determination well and make the determination quickly. All these kind of decisions we make in life are all based on our values. And our values, of course, are the things that we deeply care about, the things that define us. I'm pretty sure you guys haven't really, and I know Harrison, you and I have talked about this at length to some degree, and I think I've talked about this with you as well, Sophia, but I don't know if we've had the conversation together, Eli and Kirk, about the issue of values and taking the time to, and pardon me, I feel a burp coming on, so you may get that. It's going to be exciting when it comes. Oh man, it wasted it. Sorry about that. I was going to make it big, but it kind of slipped out. I don't know if I've had the conversation about taking the time to sit down and carefully craft what do you care about in this life? What things do you value? And you're not going to be able to do those in one sitting. I haven't. I have a little green notebook I use that have my personal values, and I add a page, or five, every year. Things come up. So my bigger point though is you can sit down and begin to construct the values in your life right now, the things that you really, really care about, and the things that you're not going to let bother you. So those values drive the decisions that you can make on what to throw in the fucking bucket and what to put in the Grin-Bin. What you strongly value in life is going to become a filter for things and for people that will allow you to make those determinations wisely and quickly. The values that you come up with in life will equip you with responsibility. And we've talked before, I know I've described at length before, the definition of responsibility is simply your ability to be able to respond appropriately. Appropriately, though, is according to your values. So responsibility is really your ability to respond according to your values. Now, responsibility comes with a lot of control, and that's a great thing. It's a really good thing, because then if someone in your life intersects with your life, you have the responsibility to control the impact of that interaction on your life. You have that ability. That's your responsibility, to control the impact of that intersection with that person. Control the impact of that on your life. If that impact on your life is not going to be a good thing for you based on your values, you chuck it in the fucking bucket and you move on with your life. You do it as fast as you can. It's not worth feeling guilty over or afraid of. You just do it. If your values are well defined, you know this type of person is not going to have a good impact, you chuck that over there and you'd be done with it. It's not worth giving a fuck about. There's that Bible verse in Colossians 3:8, and I love that, because in that Bible verse, the Apostle Paul talks about, I want you to throw out everything that is no bueno for you, right? Throw out anger, throw out wrath, jealousy, hatefulness, hateful words, throw all that stuff out. And those are good things, good actions to take. So, but if the impact is going to be a good thing in your life, right? The person or the event or the thing you want to do, if that's going to be a good thing, then you chuck it in the Grin-Bin as quickly as possible and save it, because you want to cherish it. It's going to bring you smile. It's going to bring you pleasure. It's going to bring you amusement. It's going to bring you a sense of well-being. Those are good things to keep. And you want to take time to then deal and with those things and dwell on those things. There's that, I think, another verse in Philippians 4:8, if I remember, it says, whatever things are like lovely and peaceful and good and excellent and worthy of bragging about, honorable, think about those things, dwell on those things. So the fuck it bucket is for the things that you want to get rid of and you don't want to be a burden and you don't want to have an impact on your life. And the Grin-Bin is for the things that you do. And you keep those, you're tossing out the fucking bucket regularly and dumping it out, but you're keeping the other stuff and you're spending your time thinking about that and cherishing that. So again, some things in life are worth treasuring. Some things aren't. This is gonna, it's gonna not sound very loving, but I think you know where I'm coming from. Some people in life are worth treasuring and some are not. Some people are going to be a bad influence on you, have a bad impact on you. I know it sounds kind of brutal. I don't mean it that way, but it's just a turn of phrase to think, to think of tossing them in the fucking bucket, You know me, I love everyone deeply and sincerely and genuinely. So I'm never going to be the guy who's just going to walk up to somebody and just say, fuck you or whatever. I'm just not that guy. I don't believe that about people. I believe everybody has inherent dignity and worth. However, I do think that there are impacts that certain people have on me that I don't want in my life. So while I would never say fuck you to anyone. I would never want to throw a human in a fucking bucket because I don't believe that. But I do think the impact that they have on me is worthy of that bucket, and so I throw those things in there. Oftentimes that ends up getting piled up. I throw a lot in the fucking bucket. The older I get, the more I throw in there. And that's because my values are becoming more and more clear the older I get. I know where I want to spend my time. I know how I want to spend my time. I know the kind of people I want to be around. I know what kind of people bring out the best in me, what people bring out the worst in me. So the more clearly my values get defined, the faster I get at parsing out which impacts need to go where. So I then discover and I record and I build and I meditate on those good things that go in the Grin-Bin. And that's what you want to do as well. And it helps you get faster and better at making smart decisions in life. So to wrap it up, hopefully you have a best advice journal of some kind. I've talked about that enough now that you should have gone out and gotten one. And you should begin using a page or two to start sketching out your values. What are your values in life? What do you really, really care about in this life? And everything else that does not meet or intersect with those things that you deeply value, then just don't let yourself be burdened by those other things. You can't be bothered by everything. You should only be burdened by the most important things. And the rest of it, as Arthur taught me several years ago, chuck it in the fucking bucket. I hope that's helpful. And feel free to share. This is great advice that needs to be shared with other people, especially in an age and a culture where you guys are, where everybody just gets so flipping offended by everything. They feel so heavy and burdened by so many things, and we don't have to. We don't have to. We can define our values and make our life choices much more clearly and respond appropriately to those impacts. So feel free to share. I hope it's helpful. Love you guys. I'm going to go brush my tooth and I'm going to bed. Talk to you later.